I don't think you'll be able to count very long between the thunder and the lightning. Here's your look at the Mattel Master Universe Origins Thunderpunch He-Man, heroic leader with a power punch. He-Man uses the powers of Grayskull to summon the mega-powered Thunder Punch. Oh, there goes another one. 1,000, 2, yeah, Storm's pretty close. Before we get a closer look at Thunder Punch He-Man, let's grab the tape measure just to see how tall the figure stands. Now, I have waited a while to try to find this figure. Checked around on eBay and didn't want to pay the price that the sellers were selling this guy for. Finally did find this guy at a local online site called Toynado. If you guys are interested and say you're a Canadian collector and haven't had any luck to find Thunder Punch He-Man, I'll provide a link down below in the video description. In the meantime, though, Thunder Punch He-Man stands about 5¼ inches in height. Yes, he does. Or the figure's going to be about 13½ centimeters tall. For comparisons to other He-Man figures, here's what the figure looks like with original He-Man. You can see that they're going to be sharing the same bodies and, in this case, similar heads. And here's also what the figure looks like with Flying Fist He-Man. Again, while they're using the same bodies, the same legs, and about the same proportions, it makes for He-Mans that are all about the same size to one another. Accessories for Thunder Punch He-Man. First, you get a pamphlet, courtesy of the folks over at Mattel. Normally, this would just tell you that you can swap out the arms, the legs, and the head to change it out if you want to customize another He-Man figure for this. Not this time around, Jack, no. In fact, it actually tells you that the only things you can remove this time around are the fists, the boots, and the head, likely because the shoulders are attached to the gimmick of his torso, so you don't want to really be removing those. Speaking of removing this, I will be removing this post-haste, and that will be ending up into the recycling bin shortly after this review is finished. The figure also comes included with a comic book, and this time around, the comic book is entitled Heart of the Snake. You can see there's King Hiss on the front battling Thunder Punch He-Man, and in the background there's the Sorceress, of course. On the back, King Hiss, Rattler, Cobra Khan, Thunder Punch He-Man, Snake Armor He-Man, and Bolt Man. Figures all advertised on the back. The only ones that I have yet still to pick up is Bolt Man and King Hiss. I would still eventually like to find King Hiss, but again, the prices of what this guy has been going for online leads me, unfortunately, as a reviewer, to be a little behind on schedule. Anyways, flipping through the comic pages, you can see, actually, again, the artwork's really good on these. We have, in this case, what looked almost like Mechanic, but you can see there's a snake inside of Mechanic's body. That's not good. And of course, there's the Sorceress. Really, again, nice looking artwork on the inside of these. I always hold on to these comics. Going to put that to the side. That is not going to go and find its way into the recycling bin. Then for the accessories for Thunder Punch He-Man, he gets himself the shield. The shield looks to be like vac chrome plastic. It looks really nice. On the back, there's, of course, the handle that's going to be held by He-Man's single fist. And there's a slot, of course, that you can then take the power sword, which this time around, the power sword is actually done here in gold plastic. You take simply the sword, slide it through the front, and then He-Man can carry this around with him. Normally, in the original release of the Thunder Punch He-Man, there would have been, again, those ring of caps. Those caps would then spark anytime something would be triggered. Those would often then be used with other toys from the 80s, but they've really done away with it altogether. Short of maybe then going to dollar stores and stuff where you could still find cap-firing guns, but the only times you can usually find those cap rings anymore. I would have loved if they could have included this. I think the original ones would have gone on the back of He-Man's body. I've seen a lot of times. In fact, the Mondo release, for example, have put the little cap ring there on the front of his shield, or I think it was on the back of the shield. It was right here underneath the handle, but we don't get it this time around. But at least there is a storage place to take the power sword, and the power sword stays well into the shield, where you then take that and you clip it onto He-Man's arm. Now, we're going to clip it, obviously, on the only side that gives you the means to actually hold the shield. We're going to just take it, clip it around his hand. Now, if you're having any tough times to do this, just kind of grab your hand on the other side. There we go. And then I like to always spin the shield sideways. There's He-Man holding it then on the one side. Obviously, this side isn't going to be holding shields at all, but rather instead, let's put the figure down here for a second. The figure then also comes included with a little blast, or the fist effect that came included with the original figure as well. It's all molded here in sort of a translucent yellow plastic. It's a really nice looking accessory that then clips onto He-Man's fists. You just simply slide your fist of He-Man into that, and then He-Man is ready to start punching people. To effectively punch people, not that we really want to be promoting punching people at all, you're going to take He-Man's body basically and just turn it sideways. And then when you let go, He-Man flies it forward. And when he also flies it forward, it sort of leaves what almost seems like a snap behind, almost as if something actually is firing off on the inside. The original toy would have actually had this part, I believe, remove, and then you would then take the ring of caps and it would actually fit inside of this, giving you then that snap sound whenever He-Man actually did punch his fist. You actually do get something that's similar in sound. I don't know if you can actually hear it or not. It looks like they probably have put something in there. It's not a rattle necessarily, but there's something in there, probably in his torso, I would imagine, that when you pull his body back, it does give him that sort of snap sound, similar to what he would have had in the original vintage toy. Let's go ahead and remove these for right now. One unfortunate thing about ordering this guy online, I'm just going to remove his fist accessory part for right now. Poor He-Man looks like he has developed a case of pink eye. It's always important to wash your hands when you're done doing the toilets. But in this case, unfortunately, poor He-Man has gotten himself a little case of pink eye. It's a really bad case too. Like, it's the first thing I noticed as soon as I opened up the box. I looked down, I saw He-Man's head. I looked down and I saw He-Man's eye, and I went, oh. Now, that's no harm, no foul. I mean, obviously, in this case, I can probably just pop off He-Man's head and then just replace it with another He-Man head. I have probably enough of these He-Man heads to go around. It's just a classic-looking head anyways. But I am a bit bummed, unfortunately. I just got the luck of the draw that I ended up having to get He-Man that had a poor case of pink eye. But we're just going to pop that on for right now. Standard classic He-Man head sculpt. They haven't changed anything in this time around. They haven't given him a case where, like, they've sculpted a hair, for example, like it looks like he's blowing off to the side. No, just a classic looking He-Man. That's all I really would need. Then, of course, underneath, like, if you were to take this off, which does look like it attaches off to the sides here, I don't know if I really would want to remove this. I've done this a couple of times with other figures before and started to develop stress marks. But for all intents and purposes, you'd be able to detach it on the one side, detach it from the other. And if you were just to take this contraption off altogether, which you'd essentially be leaving behind is just a regular He-Man body. Standard regular He-Man lower legs. So, for example, let's just bring the other regular He-Man here for you guys can see. Seems to be sharing, again, the same bodies, same arms, same legs. What's done differently, though, obviously, is that they've used a different pair or different lower loincloth, for example. It's a little bit more of an orange color, and the brown seems to be a lot more vibrant. And also that they've changed the boots. The boots not only being a darker brown, but also you can see as well that the fur, instead of being yellow like the original one, they actually get instead white fur boots. And that's not bad at all. Other than that, though, it's essentially the same He-Man figure. And along with that goes the same regular articulation that goes along with these figures as well. So, like, Thunderpunch He-Man does have a head that rotates all the way around. It's on a ball joint, after all. Does allow the head to look down, look up, and again, all the stuff that normally goes along with the territory of looking at these He-Man Master Universe Origins figures. Arms go out because, again, they've got single pin and hinge joints. You can allow the arms to rotate all the way around. Single hinge, again, only in the forearms, but allows at least the forearms to rotate back and forth. The hands rotate all the way around and hinge back and forth. It's just a straight swivel in the waist, but the only thing different this time around is that the waist actually will not, it won't stay in one place for obvious reasons. It's going to have to swing forward to, again, give us that sounding snap sound. Extra the legs seem to be on ball joints, so again, you can split the legs out. You can take, of course, the legs, move them forward, move them back. Single hinge only on the knee. Lower the leg rotates. The boot also rotates. And the ankles move back and forth as well. You can also, again, get these guys, again, so smart on their part, putting this as a marketing idea, but you can also get this guy in his more vintage design. Simply just take the elbows, just bend them so the arms are always kind of in a permanent pose like this. Take the legs, move them forward, bend the knees, legs forward, bend the knees, and then just sort of balance everything off then with the ankles. And then you've got He-Man more in his kind of the way that the original vintage toy would have had. Pre-posed legs, pre-posed elbows, and of course only posability then in the shoulders and the tops of the thighs. I personally, when it comes to displaying my He-Man figures, I like to go straight legs on these guys and then just, again, bend the arms accordingly. Nice, again, looking figure. A bit of a bummer, unfortunately, that the one I just happened to have gotten had a case of pink eye. But if not for that, it's a nice looking He-Man. Of the He-Mans that we've gotten, of course, over the years of the, the Master Universe Origins line, let's just, again, bring back in a couple of He-Mans right now. The ones that I've always liked the most are like Battle Armor He-Man, which I really should have technically brought in, being one of my favorites after all, was always Battle Armor He-Man and Thunderpunch He-Man were always my two favorites. Flying Fist He-Man was cool as well, which again, like his gimmick, if everybody remembers that one, this actually did have the arms that swayed back and forth when you rotated the torso. So the gimmick wasn't completely dead with the Master Universe Origins line. It still survived, but it didn't survive in all of the figures. We did get it at least with Flying Fist He-Man, and we get it again here with Thunderpunch He-Man. Again, in this case, you're not getting an arm that swivels back and forth, moves back and forth when you rotate the waist, but rather instead, it whiplashes itself back, making the same similar sound that the original 80s toy did have without actually the ring of caps built into the back of the figure's body. Thunderpunch He-Man is a look that I like so much for the most powerful man in the universe. In fact, when we had a look at the Mondo release, the 6-scale He-Man that had 3 different ways of displaying the figure, the OG, the battle armor, and the Thunderpunch, I actually have him displayed right now with his Thunderpunch armor, simply just because the armor not only does look good, because it brings a lot more of extra coloring to him, but I like the idea of incorporating caps. Granted, this figure doesn't have it, but the original figure sure did. You simply just open up the back of his armor, and then you inserted that ring of caps, and while they didn't include it, unfortunately, with this release, it would have been nice that they could have included maybe like a fake ring of caps. Mondo did do that. They included that would simply fit on the back of the shield. I would have liked that Mattel could have done something similar. It didn't have to necessarily fire, because I know the whole idea of caps nowadays being in toys would be a big no-no, but I would have liked to have seen that Mattel could have at least included it as a nod to the original toy. Like with the original toy as well, he does have that vac chrome finish shield that does have the means to still holster the power sword, and he does have, again, that energy effect that he can attach onto the end of his other fist. Like with the original toy, while it doesn't have the blast effect and actual having gunpowder, you can at least rotate his body, release it, and it sets off a similar snapping sound as if the ring of caps were actually built into his body. Nice looking figure. Overlooking, of course, whatever issues I may have had with poor He-Man's eye, I can easily fix that, all relying now on ball joints with the now updated articulation that all these figures possess. I'm simply just going to pop off the existing head for He-Man here and replace it with a head sculpt from one of the other classic He-Mans. I probably have like a whole bag of 3 or 4 extra loose heads right now. I could probably just replace it with the one that I got here for Thunderpunch He-Man. Again, if you guys are interested and would like to find this one for yourself and don't want to pay the prices that eBay is selling this guy for, you can actually pick this guy up right now over at Toynado's website. I'll provide the link certainly down below in the video description. Let me know if you guys have had the chance to pick up Thunderpunch He-Man, and maybe also as a video question, if you don't mind me also throwing out to you, the viewing audience, of all the looks and all the armors that He-Man have had over the years in the classic days of those vintage toys, what's your favorite He-Man that isn't the original OG He-Man? Is it Battle Armor He-Man? Is it Flying Fist He-Man? Snake Armor? Well, I guess technically Snake Armor wouldn't count. Or the Thunderpunch He-Man? What's your favorite armor of He-Man that isn't the original? Let me know down below in the comments section. And again, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit with a like. If you guys are loving the content you guys are seeing and on board to see more, then make sure you hit the subscribe button down below and that you're also turning on the bell notification. We're going to have a lot more videos coming your way. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.